Hello everyone, welcome to Heather's Home Kitchen. I'm registered dietitian Heather Klug from the Karen Yance Women's Cardiac Awareness Center. So green beans are finally in season. And if you're going to be making these for dinner anytime soon, I'd like to show you a recipe to jazz them up a little bit. I love them plain, just eating them raw or boiling them or steaming them, but sometimes adding a little sauce just gives a little more variety. So this is a recipe called fresh green beans with dill pesto. And you can find this on the KarenYanceCenter.org website. So the first thing you're going to do is boil your green beans. So I bought fresh ones and I just trimmed them a little bit, and then you're going to rinse them off, and while you're trimming them, boil some water in a really big pot, kind of like what I have here on the stove. And they don't boil for too long. It takes anywhere from like 5 to 7 minutes depending on the amount of them you have. I boiled roughly like 1 pound to 1.5 pounds of green beans, okay? Once they're done cooking, you're gonna take them over to the sink and put them in a colander, and you're gonna rinse some cold water over them so they don't keep cooking. Basically, you wanna keep them at like a crisp, tender sort of stage, okay? And then I just put them here in the bowl so they're all ready for the sauce. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make the pesto sauce. Now for the pesto purists out there, they're not going to be too happy with me because a traditional pesto uses basil and also pine nuts, and I'm not using either of those. So if you'd rather, you can make it, using the basil and the pine nuts. But we're going to use a few different ingredients today. You're going to want to get out your food processor like I have here. What I've done ahead of time, I've chopped up about 3 to 4 scallions. This makes about 1/2 cup of them, and we're just gonna pour them here in the food processor. And then I also got some fresh dill and also some parsley together. So I have about 3 tablespoons of the parsley, and I also have about 4 tablespoons of the dill. I did just chop them up a little bit. You probably don't have to do that, but I just thought I'd give the food processor a little easier time today. So we're going to put those in there. That's going to give it a pretty green color. Again, if you have basil at home, especially for those of you that are growing it in your garden, feel free to throw that in there or substitute it for the dill. Some people also add some baby spinach in there just to make sure it has a really nice bright green color. So then we're going to also add about 1/4 cup of chopped walnuts into the food processor. And then we also have a couple tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. Gives it a little bit of acidity. You can use fresh lemon juice if you'd like there as well. And then this is not in the recipe, but I'm going to add this because sometimes it's nice to have a little bit of sweetness in there. It helps just balance out the acidity a little bit. So I'm adding 1 tablespoon of pure maple syrup in here. All right, so we have those together, and then what we're going to do is add a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. I have about 1/2 cup in here. I'm not going to add all of it because we might not need everything. So now I'm just going to get the food processor started. All right, we're going to process this. Let me get that in there. All right, I'm going to drizzle a little bit of olive oil in here yet. You want it to kind of be a nice creamy consistency. So we'll add a little bit more in there. All right, I'm gonna check and see what that's looking like. It's looking pretty good. I think I'm gonna add a little bit more in there. Okay, we're just gonna process that a little bit more. All right, that's looking really good here. So last step here is we're just gonna add in a little bit of salt and pepper. And then I am going to do a little taste test with it, see if we need to add any more. Or this is the point where you can add in any other ingredients just to make sure it kind of balances out a little bit. So All right. So let me give this kind of just a little bit of quick test. It's really good. All right. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take this off, and we are going to drizzle a little bit over the green beans, and then I'll tilt it so you can see. See, so really easy. It doesn't take a whole lot of time to make this. The other thing I would add here is that we're not going to use all of this sauce. In fact, I might get a good 3 kind of different servings out of this. So with this sauce that we've just made in the food processor, for the leftovers that you have, you can do a couple different things to save this. You can put it in ice cube trays and freeze it that way, and then you could just pop out 1 or 2, and then you can defrost them, and then they're ready to go for your next batch of green beans. Or the other option is you could put them in baggies too and kind of freeze them flat in the freezer. And again, you just take that out ahead of time and defrost it or thaw it out in the refrigerator, and it's all ready to go. So here's what the end result kind of looks like. So we have fresh green beans with the dill pesto. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks so much for watching. If you're looking for other heart-healthy recipes, please visit the KarenJansCenter.org website. Thank you. Bye.